And she is the co-executive director of Project Amigo. And she's bilingual, bicultural, has an array of other talents and skills. She received a BA and MA in English Literature from Eastern Michigan University. After receiving her master's degree, she decided that academia wasn't for her, and she felt driven to be out in the world doing good. And so she's going to tell us about Project Amigo.
I've given my mother and my stepfather a few heart attacks in life. When I finished my master's degree and announced that I was moving to Nicaragua, my mother about fell over. But you just never know. Somebody, I was talking to another Rotary Club yesterday, and they were so funny. She was talking about, she had the same degrees that I have in, bachelor's and master's in English literature. And those of us who study that know that nobody is beating down your door to give you a job when you have a master's in English literature. So that prompted the move to Nicaragua and thinking about what I could do in the world to give back. Thinking about the time in life that we have and doing good. So I worked in Nicaragua for about 12 years on WASH projects, water, sanitation, health and hygiene education. And then my husband and I had the opportunity to take on the job of co-executive directors of Project Amigo. It was perfect because my husband's story is very similar to some of the stories that I'll tell today of students, and he's actually from a similar area to Ramiro. Because I'm thinking where you're from in Texas is just above Tamaulipas?
Yes.
Yeah, so my husband is from the state of Tamaulipas in Mexico.
Okay.
And one of 8 kids who was the only one to go through university.
You want to advance the slide?
Yeah, perfect, thank you. Project Amigo is focused on ending poverty through education. It's really the only way to do that, to change generations of people trapped in poverty, and doing that through education by allowing students to go as far in education as they can, so that they can come out and become doctors and nurses and engineers and so many different things. So I'll tell you some of those stories as I go along. Project Amigo got started about 31 years ago. I should tell you also that I'm a Rotarian, and our founder is Rotarian, and our founder loves volcanoes. So this picture right here is really why Project Amigo exists today. Have any of you met Ted Rose or been down to visit us? No? Okay, great, good to know. Ted Rose is our founder, and he loves volcanoes. And so he took a bus to go out to see this volcano. But like so many good stories, he took the wrong bus. And he did not make it to this volcano. He made it to the little town of Cofradía de Suchitlan. It is a mouthful of a town that doesn't even have a stop sign. So there are about 2,000 people who live in Cofradía, and my family are some of those 2,000 people. My husband and I and our 2 daughters who are 5 and 7. So Ted took the bus, got off in Cofradía, and there wasn't another bus going back down the hill for another 3 or 4 hours. So he hung out in the Central Plaza, and he talked with some of the kids there. And as he got there longer and they got to know him more, he's a jokey kind of guy, he's funny. And they said, well, come see my house, come see here. And he felt really moved by the poverty that he saw there. This is where he was. This is where that volcano is. It's the Colima volcano. Some people call it the Volcán de Fuego, the fire volcano. It erupts pretty regularly. It's an active volcano. Cofradía, where we are, is perfectly safe. But here's where the state of Colima is, a small state, and it has a coast. Our biggest city is Manzanillo, if any of you have been there or heard of it. And this is some of what he saw when he was down there. This is actually a picture from a migrant camp in Quesaria, where we do a lot of work. And Cofradía, 31 years ago, was similar in poverty. It has changed tremendously because of the presence of Project Amigo. I also want to point out that I'll talk about Cofradía and Quesaria quite a bit, but really we service kids throughout the entire state, from the coast all the way over to the far end where we are in the state. So we have kids who come into our program from all over. All kids deserve a chance to thrive. They deserve a chance to go as far in education as they want to. School is exactly where they should be. The Secretary of Education says that 5,000 students in Mexico drop out every single day. When I do the math on that, it floors me, and it's hard to even comprehend. But kids who make it through 6th grade, and not even all that many kids make it through 6th grade, but another 35% will drop out from 6th grade just going into 7th grade. That's a crucial transition point. So we have a primary school program that focuses on incentives for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to get them through that leap. And then they have the opportunity to come into a formal scholarship program that we have that runs 7th grade through university. That's one of the things I really like about Project Amigo, is it doesn't end after high school, it keeps going. If students want to go into university, then we'll work with them. And it's not just about paying for tuition and such, it's everything that could be an obstacle to keeping kids out of school, even when they're in university. There aren't dorms in Mexico where you can go and find a place to live and share rooms and there's a cafeteria. None of that exists there. So something that we have also for the university students is, we call it Casa Amiga, and it's a place where there's a house mother, and it's a 20-bed facility for where students can live. Doña Chela is the woman who runs the house, and she's full of love, and she knows all of those students and all their challenges, and they come to her when they're struggling. She knows who is in the house and who's out when they have classes, if they've done their homework, and make sure that they eat well and such. One of the things that happens a lot, the transportation is one of the key things, and Cofradia is a good example of why. In Cofradia, there's a 3-year preschool program that includes kindergarten, and then there's a 6-year primary school. But if you want to go beyond 6th grade, that's where that dropout point starts happening, right? And it's because so many towns across Mexico don't have junior highs. You have to be able to afford a bus. And in the area that we work, Colima's economy is really based in agriculture. So a lot of the parents that we're working with, their job possibilities with, having only gone through maybe 3rd grade or so, are cutting sugarcane, picking limes, cutting bananas, and none of those jobs pay well, right? The sugarcane cutters, if they're really good and they work really fast and it is super hard work, they might earn $20 a day. So nobody's making a whole lot of money, and most people are making much less than that. Talking about Casa Amiga, this is one of the walls in Casa Amiga. It's a wonderful house. I frequently go down there and work. We have a nice little study room that I can pop into with my computer. But every time I walk in, I get to see this wall of students. These are the university graduates who've gone through our program. Like so many programs, our program has evolved over time. We started out doing a Christmas fiesta, and then we realized that wasn't changing people's lives, right? It was really fun, it was good, and then we moved into this education part in 1995, and then as our students advanced farther and farther and they still wanted to study, we added in the university program. So while we've worked with almost 1,400 students over the years just in the scholarship program, we have 59 students who have graduated from university. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about a couple of them. This over here is Beto. He is from the coast of Colima, and really his job possibilities would have been to cut bananas and something else, but instead he manages a 650 hectare plantation, which is pretty incredible. This is Maria. She studied law, and she just wrapped up as the mayor of our town. The mayor before her was also a Project Amigo graduate. We get super excited about that because, when you hear about Mexico, a lot of people talk about corruption in government and other things. And so what we believe is that you can create a new generation of leaders who have values, who believe in honesty and doing good in their community, and can go out and do good. Maria was a fantastic mayor of our town. Beto works for us. Of these 59 graduates, 7 of them work with us in our program, and so many other fantastic stories of people here. Belén was a graduate of our program as well. She studied nursing. Heraclio is an agronomy engineer who just graduated. And one of the things that is so important in our program are visitors who come down to see our program. Our students really many of them have a limited view of what their job possibilities are. Everybody who's growing up, as they meet people, they think, oh, I could be that, but if everybody around you is working in a store, or maybe they make ice cream and then sell it downtown, or they cut bananas, then you start thinking that those are your possibilities. But when we have people come down to visit us in Mexico, people who worked in the White House, right, that would blow some minds of some kids. You worked at the president? Things like that. when we have visitors who come down and share what they do, running a business, running a restaurant, all of these different careers that people have, sharing those experiences really open the worldview of our students. And a lot of our students struggle, especially, the kids in Quesaria, that first photo I showed of pretty severe poverty, there's a lot of abuse there, there's alcoholism there, the classic problems that happen with really impoverished areas. And so it's so wonderful when we have visitors come down who can show them how their life could be. And to never underestimate the value of meeting somebody, smiling at somebody, and making them feel important.
Thank you.
We have lots of trip opportunities if you'd like to come down and visit us. Really, we encourage you to go anywhere in the world. I was talking to Gloria, I know she travels all over. I'm sure many of you travel. International service is so important. That's what Rotary is about, right? It's about service above self, about doing good in the world. So if Project Amigo were to fit into your travel plans, we would love it, but really, please go anywhere and work with anyone. We have lots of opportunities. There are more on our website. We have some fun summer ones. There's even a swimming lesson program that we'll be running this summer. And these trip dates are also on a flyer on your table. But I'll tell you a little bit about what you would do and if you were to come down and how you could contribute to the kids' lives in Mexico, where we work in Colima. The literacy service weeks are really fun. It's about getting books into the hands of kids. And so I was asked this morning to sign a book for the local elementary school. That's so fantastic. That's what Project Amigo is doing. We have distributed books in schools through many libraries, a book of one's own program, to about 128,000 kids over the years. It's so important because that, again, the same way that you all coming down to visit could open worlds, books open worlds as well. When we take books into the schools, the kids get so excited and they start rifling through and they want this one and then they're switching with that one, and it's such a fun experience. The volunteers sort through the books and make sure that we don't end up with repeats going to all the different schools. We want a nice variety in the many libraries that go into the schools. Put nameplates in the books. And then when they take the books out to the school, there's a chance to read with kids, to sit down next to them. And it sounds like a lot of people in here speak Spanish. I've heard some Spanish this morning. But it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish or you don't speak Spanish. It's about sitting next to a kid and making that kid feel important and supported for that morning. Some of our kids have wonderfully supportive parents and some of our kids don't, to be honest. And so this is such a wonderful opportunity for a kid to feel important for a morning and cared about. One of the other things on this trip that is really fun is this trip is always combined with a day at the beach. Part of that incentive program I talked about for primary school students involves a trip to the beach for the elementary school kids. It is so fun. There was a little girl named Cynthia who was on a trip last month in early March. We take about 80 primary school kids to the beach at one time. It's a little bit wild. We dress them in lime green t-shirts, and Cynthia was one of the little girls in a lime green t-shirt. And somebody came over and was telling me that when she heard about the program, she was in 2nd grade, and she wanted so badly to go to the beach. Because even though Cofradía is only about 60 miles from the beach, a lot of the kids don't get to go there. It's just too far away. And so she started working so hard in school so that she could become a Project Amigo scholar and be able to go on this trip. And that's exactly what we're going for, right? We want kids to work hard in school, to have that inner drive, that initiative. And those are the kids we want to come into our program to see them advance and do well. We also have a fiesta week. This is what our program was based in. So we had our 31st fiesta this past December. This is what we started doing, like I said, when Ted first found his way to Cofradía, and we continue to do it. Really fun. About 200 kids show up at a place, we bus them in, and prior to the actual fiesta, volunteers come down and they wrap a present for every single student. They all get a new set of clothes. If clothes don't fit, they can switch them out. We have this whole day of trying on shoes and trying on clothes, and volunteers who help them find the right sizes and such. I got to spend a morning helping kids find the right shoes, and it was so much fun to sit there and see kids get to have choices. The kids in Quesaria, the migrant camp, don't get a lot of choices in life. They get what they get, and that's life, right? And so for them to have the opportunity just to pick out a pair of shoes, they're excited, and really, it's a morning of just bringing joy to the 60 kids or however many are fitted for shoes that day. They also get to pick out a toy that day. Marbles were the biggest hit this past year. The kids were just clamoring for them, and everybody wanted a set of marbles. And we do all that beforehand, one, because you don't want 200 kids at a party who all just got presents and they all get mixed up, and two, so that they can wear their new clothes when they come to the party and feel really good and excited about it. You'll see Santa Claus back here. They also get a visit from Santa Claus. There's a clown show. It's a really fun time and they can look forward to it. When my family first moved down there this past summer, it was one of the first things I heard kids talk about was that the fiesta was coming up and that they wanted to be able to go. So it's really fun. So the volunteers decorate, they throw piñatas, and it's also combined with the celebration of the Virgin Guadalupe, which is a huge celebration across Mexico, and it's a fun cultural opportunity for people to come down and see. We also teach English to our scholars. We know that when they go out to try to find a job, that if they speak English, they have a better chance of getting jobs, of being more competitive in the job market. And we also know that, I talk with a lot of our university students, they try out their English on me sometimes, and every so often things come up where their teacher really hasn't taught them the correct phrasing. One of them, this young lady named Tatiana, who's studying to be an architect, her English is really quite good, and she's always complaining about her teachers, and she said that for years, she didn't know the correct way to say I'm hungry, that her teacher had taught her. I know Gloria will know this. How do you say I'm hungry in Spanish?
Tengo hambre.
Literally translated as what?
Hungry.
Well, but I have hunger, right? The tango that I have hunger. And that's what her teacher had taught her, is that you don't say I'm hungry, you say I'm hunger. And it doesn't sound right. And so this program is such a great opportunity for people who are English speakers, fluent in English, to come down and teach our students how we really speak here, and so that they can be more fluent in English. And it's really nice because we can match people up one-on-one so that they can work at whatever level each student is at, because there's all kinds of levels. We have some students who really speak well and some who are just learning. And then at the end of that week, it's a great time for the students who are learning English to go into the primary schools. The students in our program who are learning English are more high schoolers and university students. They can go into the primary schools and teach what they're learning, which is really empowering. We see a lot of kids come into our program very, very shy. At the beginning of this school year, we had a new girl come in named Colima, who was in 7th grade, and she wouldn't even look at me when she would talk to me, and she would speak so quietly and always look down. And now, even just a few months in, she has more confidence, and that's what we want to see. We want our students to come out to be proud of where they're from, to be capable to go out into job interviews and do super well. And that's part of what the volunteers who come through our program do as well. They'll work with them and question them and put them into interview situations sometimes, and really try to build that confidence. So let me tell you about one of our graduates, who here in this picture is a little girl. Her name's Connie, and Connie's now about 29, 30 years old. She grew up in this house. Her dad had some elementary education, and that he was a ranch hand, and this was the house that she and her family of 6 got to live in. It's out there. I talk about Cofradia is rural, right, and it's 2,000 people. She lived farther up the hill and out farther. Even just to get to elementary school, what she had to do was she had to walk to the road, catch a car, and come down to Cofradia, where she would then stay in a boarding facility, essentially, from Monday until Friday, because it was too far for her to travel back and forth just for elementary school. And she wanted to be a doctor. She knew that. And this is what we're looking for in kids, right? So there are just some kids who come into the world, we've all met at least one of them, right? Who know what they're going to be and just have that extra drive. And Connie is definitely one of those people. And when she was going on into high school, she knew she wanted to be a doctor, and so she wanted to go to high school down in the city of Colima, which distance-wise from where she was living was at least an hour by bus and far, and really a lot for a high school student to handle on her own. Her dad was not in favor of it. He thought she'd had enough education, but she was really lucky because she was part of the Project Amigo scholarship program, and she had sponsors in her life who said, if this is your dream, you can do it. And so she stuck with it. And here she is, Dr. Connie Fonseca.
Wow.
She was assigned to a rural health clinic in her first year, and she went out there. I just got distracted by my 5-minute warning. She went out there to do her internship. She was named Best Intern of the Year, and she's completely transformed that clinic. That clinic now has an urgent care facility. It offers ambulance care. It has a dentist who's on full-time. She's completely transformed it. It also has electronic records, and in this rural healthcare clinic, people check in electronically. This is unheard of in rural Mexico, all of these things. And she's not done yet. She thinks that what she can do is she can change how healthcare is delivered across the entire state of Colima, so she's working her way up and she became the medical director. Also what she did was she put her 3 brothers through university, and she bought her parents a new, better house, and everybody in that family lives better. So what I like to come back to is we do have 59 graduates, and sometimes I think 59 doesn't sound like a humongous number, but then I think about, okay, we've got 59, and then when you think about the family of Connie, that's another 5 people whose lives are immediately better. And then she's a medical director. She sees thousands of patients every single year, and we see this incredible ripple effect. And Connie's success is a direct result of having people in her life who helped her know that she could do it. And so we invite all of you to come down and do that. For some of our other students, we have all these wonderful university students, primary school students, and please come visit us or go somewhere in the world and do good. I'm sure you can. And if you'd like to stay in touch with us, I'm going to pass these around and you can sign up for our e-newsletter. It's up to you.
Questions for Jenna?
Jenna, Dr. Connie, the new doctor there, does she work for the state of Colima?
She does.
Okay.
Yes.
So that depends on the funding, of course, from the state.
Yes.
Is it good enough? I'm sure it's not as much as you'd like to have.
You know, so, Mexico has the 11th largest economy in the world. Mexico, I mean, there's corruption in government, there are other things going on. The reason her clinic could be so successful is because Connie isn't afraid to advocate for things. We see the exact same thing in the public schools across Mexico, and all of the students we support are in the public school system. It completely depends on who the medical director is, who the principal of the school is, and how willing they are to make phone calls and write letters. So there is money for things in the public system, and it's the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Is that how it goes?
Project Amigo, is that just in Colima, or is it an international organization?
No, we are only in the state of Colima. There's plenty of work to keep us busy right there. We have some ideas for growth. We expect in August to have a bigger presence in that migrant camp, opening up a new education center there, and down on the coast in a place called Cerro de Ortega, I think we can grow our program next year as well to double our impact there. So those are our growth plans for right now, and focusing on Colima.
Are you going to try to clone yourself in other states, or?
Little by little. Right now I'm looking at doubling our impact in 2 cities, and then I'll think about taking over Mexico.
Okay.
I see that your address is Novato, so is that where the founder is?
No, the founder actually lives 5 blocks from me in the small town of Cofradia. In Novato is our board treasurer. We don't have any U.S. staff, and so if anybody were to make a donation, you'll notice that we're really quite slow about responding to it because we have a great volunteer who checks the mail and makes copies and sends it down to us, but it is a slower process because we're all volunteer-based here in the U.S.
Computer, internet access, as far as the younger children are concerned?
Yes, we have a cyber cafe in most of the areas where we have a bigger presence, so we've 4 or 5 of them across the state, and anyone who is a scholar in our program is welcome to use the computers. If they're doing their homework, it's free of charge. If they want to goof around on online games and Facebook, then they have to pay 10 pesos an hour, I think is what it is. It's very inexpensive. And in Casa Amiga, all of our university students get a laptop, and we have 3 or 4 different Wi-Fi networks so that none of them get saturated. So we try to, again, remove all of those obstacles so that students can finish their homework, learn.
Do you have volunteers go down to work with you?
Yes.
From Americans. I know of some high school kids, I think that went to your place about 10 years ago.
Oh, could be.
So with Project Amigos, is there more than one Project Amigo?
You know, I understand that kind of around this area, there are some high school students who sell grapefruit at different times, and that's not related to us, so it could be different. We do, we have 150 or so people who come down on these different work weeks. We also have some people, we have a woman who's living down there with us for 6 months to be a long-term volunteer, who want to come down and do good. So we have wonderful accommodations for people to stay in. We have a number of Rotarians who bought homes in the town of Cofradia, and we're allowed to use their homes to house people. So the accommodations are great, and the food is really good.
We should all go.
So, Jenna, how far away is the nearest Rotary Club?
There is a fairly active Rotary Club in Manzanillo, which is about 2 hours away, and I understand there's also one in Coquimatlan, which is probably 45 minutes to an hour. So there's nothing super close, which is why I'm a member of an E-Club, because that's easier for me to get to. And if anybody does want to fly down, I was thinking you were going to ask me about airports, so I'm going to throw it out there. Volaris is a wonderful newer airline that flies from San Francisco into the city of Colima, making it pretty easy and really quite inexpensive. They have some great deals for going down.
Okay, we'll talk to Gloria about that.
I know, we're all She's already dancing and ready to go.
Laura's already.
When are you taking the next round of volunteers from here to go stay for 6 months?
Oh, the 6 month, that's really something that people arrange with us individually. So if you're interested, and talk to me.
Like next month? This week?
All right, any other questions? Thank you very much.